Okay, after 3 years, I'm gonna finally put a rail back on this step, and I got this mock-up to show what I'm gonna do, just kind of with angles and everything. The rail has to be 40 inches above the step, so I've got that. I've got my angle and everything. It's gonna anchor into the concrete, and then I'm also gonna put a secondary support with a curl and a boot scraper right there. So when we did the balcony, remember I made it out of a almost 100-year-old fence, and I was able to salvage the exact same centerpiece out of one of the fences, as well as the half-inch twist bar. Now I can do this myself, but it's nice to already have them. What I'm going to do then is put that piece in the center of the stair railing, and then put the twists right in the middle of these three. So that way the stair rail matches the balcony, which matches everything else. So it's nice when it all comes together, it all matches, and it all looks like it's been here for 100 years. Or 97 years, the age of my house.
I did a little bit of steel shopping today, specifically for this stair railing.
I went ahead and blunt cutted everything. I didn't worry about trying to do a miter on the cold saw. There's better ways to do that. Even with a not fresh blade, man, that finish turns out really nice. And the portaband table is the tool to use from Swag Off-Road, like cutting these angles. It just makes really quick work of it, and you don't have to reset up the saw. So this video is going to get a quick tip. There's some things that I do all the time that I don't think about, and I had somebody at the shop the other day, and they had no idea that you lubricate, you know, a bandsaw that cuts metal. This happens to be a DeWalt portaband on a Swag Off-Road table, but yeah, use wax lubricant, and you crank the saw on, and you just poke it in a little bit to get some lube on the blade, and cuts like butter, and it really extends the life of the blade. So yeah, there's one of my tips for the day. And then I took some of the old steel and cut it up in lengths ready to use. Now when doing fences and railings, you really want to do a plug weld in that bottom rung. And so the way to do that, of course, is to drill a hole and make the pickets a little smaller and weld from the bottom. And you'll see that later on in some of the pictures. And I use some scrap wooden blocks to get both the spacing under and then the spacing in between the bars so I could tack weld it all in place. And then after everything was stable and stuck together, I moved it up to the welding bench to really weld it solid, and then you can see the plug welds right there. These minion squares from Fireball Tool really made the weld up on the top of the railing just almost just possible. I use my Fireball Tool squares all the time, and I actually met the owner of the company at FabTech this year in Chicago. And in talking to him, I showed him this picture, and he had a giggle because these minion squares were originally called railing squares. Apparently, they're made just for this purpose, or at least they originally were. It's a little bit late, but the second test fit went swimmingly. Everything is perpendicular and square and level, and yeah, let's talk about that first fit. Alright, show your mistakes, because stuff happens. You'll notice there's a weld here. Why is there a weld there? Because I transposed a number and the original foot was too short. So I put a piece of bar inside there and then did this weld, and I'll grind that nice and flat, and only you and I will ever know. Yeah, it doesn't always happen right the first time. The trick is to be able to fix it. Yeah, just so you know, there were a lot of dirty words. I said hateful oaths. But I'm gonna open up the forge and make this curl. Alright, forge is lit, and exactly 5 minutes after it lit, I ran out of propane. So I had to go to my alternate source, stolen from the grill. Anyway, I'll have that filled this week. Well, shit. I left this out last night because it wasn't supposed to rain, and guess what it did? And now, I got rust everywhere. Yay! Shit. Alright. Last night, I bent up the end piece for the railing, this curly Q. And after I did it, I realized, oh, poopers. I bent it the wrong way. So I made another one. And here's what that will look like. I'm trying to decide if I want to bring it up close and nest the post, or if I want it a little further away. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll figure it out, and then I'll mark it, cut it, and weld it. After getting it all welded together, I put a couple coats of self-etching primer on it. And one of the things that I really was surprising is how much I liked the boot scraper. Now, I knew I was going to do it, but I really liked how that turned out. Very first coat of Rust-Oleum's finest rattle can flat black. Now it has 3 coats of black, and then I went ahead and put a couple coats of some crystal clear enamel on it, just to protect it as long as possible. So after I install it, there may be some touch-up, so I'll go ahead and touch it up with some black and clear as well. Well, bing bang boom, through the magic of video editing, everything is installed, concrete's cured, boot scraper works great, and the railing itself is really rigid with 4 solid points of contact. Now it matches all of the other fencing and railing that we have on and around the house, and I think it turned out really nice. I'm happy with it.